Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Jose Morales Jr. And today we got a special guest. We got pro boxer Dante the Inferno Kirkland. How's it going, Kirkman?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thanks for joining us today. First question we got for you is rather basic. I'm sure you get this asked all the time, and it's how did you get started in boxing?
So I'm 23. I've been boxing for 13 years, but my dad introduced me to the sport. He was an amateur boxer, and we just watched boxing all the time growing up. And so, um, one of the biggest moments for me was just watching. I believe it was Floyd versus Miguel Cotto. I was very young for that fight, but like I just loved watching like Floyd's reaction to winning the fights, Floyd's reaction to just big fights in general, just how like important the moment was to him and how beautiful the sport was, how simple yet artful it was. And so that really drawed me into the sport. And so then I told my dad I wanted to box, and he fully believed in me and just, introduced me to my coach Eddie Croft here in San Mateo. And then we just got started.
Nice, nice. And it's funny you mentioned that Mayweather kind of got you into boxing because for me too, as a fan, like, it was Floyd Mayweather that kind of me watching his fights that got me into sport. So it's
Yeah.
cool to see. And then what can you tell us about your amateur career?
Amateur career, I was amateur for up until last year. I competed in the 2024 Olympic trials, finishing the semifinals, getting a bronze, was nationally ranked in the country multiple times. Yeah, just a lot of fights.
Yeah, and then one name that stood out from your amateur days was Keon Davis. We
Mhm.
just saw him on the top ranked card with his brother Keyshawn Davis. What do you recall fighting Keon in the amateurs? I saw he's a really tall guy at 6'3".
Well, he was my last fight in the Olympic trials, and yeah, he was very smart. Definitely knew how to like use his reach. Was um, I thought like pretty similar to like his brother Keyshawn Davis, but just a 6'3" version. So, yeah, very good fighter, very smart.
Um, and Dante, how did he get the nickname the Inferno?
So the Inferno came from Dante Alighieri's book, Dante's Inferno, and so my team just like saw how like fiery and intense I was just in my training and just in everything that like built who I was in the ring, and so then it just felt like a natural way to go for Dante the Inferno Kirkman.
Awesome, great fit, great fit. Now I want to talk about your pro debut back in May of 2024 in Redwood City. It was a West Side Promotions card. What were your emotions heading into your first pro fight?
It was honestly like I didn't really feel too much. I was just really happy. Like because I used to like just travel a lot for like USA boxing tournaments, and all of like my like friends and family just like didn't. They knew I boxed and they knew I was good, but they didn't really know what that meant because like they wouldn't really like tune into the USA tournaments. They would just kind of hear about stuff and hear that I'm boxing for all this time, and they didn't really know what that meant. So it was just like really exciting. Had like a little bit of nerves initially, but then like it was very just like a great introduction into the pros, and so I'm just very happy how things went.
That's awesome. And then Dante, you're the first pro boxer to come out of Stanford. Normally higher education and pro boxing don't go hand in hand, but you're one of the first to kind of do that. What does that accomplishment mean to you?
For me, it's always been a dream of mine. My brother, he's 8 years older than me. He was kind of like a role model for me, and he graduated from Stanford in like 2016. And so, just like growing up, going to like Stanford football games and stuff, and seeing that my brother could go to Stanford, that was always something that I wanted to do. So becoming like Stanford's first pro boxer and making history in my own way, it was definitely like a special thing for me. But I'm also just grateful that like I can hopefully like introduce boxing to like people who wouldn't normally watch boxing. Like at my pro debut, had a lot of people from Stanford out there, and it was their first time watching boxing. They didn't even know how it was scored. So like I'm just happy that I can like introduce this beautiful sport to people and hopefully make some new fans.
That's amazing. And last time out was probably your best performance to date. You got the victory by TKO. Your first two fights, you got the win by decision. That did it feel better winning by knockout versus decision?
Um, it felt good. I like honestly like they all kind of feel the same to me. Like I'm a big fan of just like boxing, so like I don't really mind fights going to decision. Like I'm a big Shakur fan, so um, like that's not really a popular take right now to be a Shakur fan for his fights, but like like I just love long, beautiful boxing. But obviously, getting the knockout is an emphatic way to get the victory. So I'm proud I could have gotten that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're gonna be back in the ring Saturday, March 8th at Lincoln, California. What can fans expect to see from you on your upcoming fight?
They can expect to see just like a fighter who's done everything right in training camp and all throughout his career. Just I'm gonna make sure that I continue to jab, defend, just outbox my opponent, and hopefully break him down.
And what can you tell us about your opponent, Jose Cruz? I saw that he has I think almost 3 times the amount of pro fights than you.
Yeah, he's pretty like slippery, kind of awkward. Like a little bit of like an MMA type style, like when the MMA fighters kind of transition to boxing. So like we'll see what he brings, but it won't be really anything for me.
Gotcha. And I recall hearing that you want to have a busy 2025. Ideally, if you can kind of pick how many fights you want to have in this year, what would be the kind of the amount of fights you want to get in 2025?
Well, hopefully I can get one more fight after this one before I graduate. I graduate in June, so I'm hoping to get 2 fights before then, including this one, and then afterwards that'll leave like 6 months. Hopefully, I could get 3 more, so a total of like 5 for 2025 if I can get to like 8-0.
That'd be awesome. And that classifies as busy, five fights in 1 year. And all your pro fights so far have been in the Bay Area. As you alluded to it, during your amateur careers, you did a lot of traveling. So a lot of your fans haven't been able, and family haven't been able to see you fight. So how special has it been to you just to kind of have that, support at home and them see your growth in the sport?
Well, I've grown up in the Bay Area my whole life, and Andre Ward was a big influence for me. So I'm just hopefully one day can inspire kids like how Andre Ward inspired me, and just continuing to build here in the Bay Area and have some big fights. I don't know where. Hopefully someday we could fight in Stanford. I don't think there's been a big fight ever at Stanford. So just kind of just trying to make the Bay Area a household boxing name again.
Absolutely. And Dante's like, you read my mind. That's kind of my next question here. Just being from the Bay, the gold standard for pro boxing has been Andre Ward. I remember, going to see his fights at the Oracle and then being such a big attraction. What were your thoughts on his career, and have you had a chance to kind of meet him yet?
Yeah, so my coach Eddie Croft, he helped out at Virgil Hunter's gym for in Andre Ward's like later career. So I got to like watch him like train and spar and stuff just as a little kid. He probably doesn't remember that, but it meant a lot to me at the time. And then going to see him versus Sullivan Barrera at I believe it was Oracle too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like just watching him and then also being able to like go spar at that gym now, sparring it's like some of Virgil's guys now. It's definitely kind of like made things real for me, knowing that like somebody from the Bay Area, for him going to the Olympics, getting a gold medal, that was my goal in the amateurs, and then becoming like number one pound for pound fighter in the world, and seeing how he did it through just like hard work, fundamentals, and like dedication to the sport, which is all something that I like live and breathe. So it definitely just makes it real, and definitely something that I just want to use to inspire kids, just like how he inspired me.
Well said. And Dante, we also saw that you're sponsored by Snack. We know Snack is very selective of who they sponsor. They only work with. There you go. They only work with the best. They work with Mike Garcia. They got Devin Haney, Caleb Plant. The list goes on and on. How did that connection with Snack come to be? That they got you sponsored.
So Eddie Croft's wife, Casey Croft, is a director at Snack, and she was like really just a blessing on my life, really, because um, a lot of my amateur career, I was just like severely overtrained and just like injury prone. I would just do dumb stuff like go run 16 miles after sparring and stuff like that. And, go into these tournaments like already halfway cooked, halfway injured. And that would lose me a lot of my fights. But then, as soon as like she got involved and Snack got involved, then like my training got like decreased. So I would just be well rested, well fed. I immediately started like winning back to back to back fights. Yeah, that's how I actually ended up going to the Olympic trials, because before that, it really looks like a far fetched dream to me. So I'm extremely thankful for Snack, and they've just continued to help me even in my pro career and just lead every step of the way.
Yep. And Dante, we know you're campaigning currently at middleweight. Is this the weight class you plan to fight for your first world title?
Hopefully. I mean, one of the things Zach has taught me is that I am growing. So, yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I fought my second fight at 154 and third fight at 58, and this fight is 60. So I'm just continuing to just take the proper nutrition, proper training, and just see how my body responds. But wherever I end up is wherever I'm going to get a world title at.
Absolutely. And then speaking of kind of future, what would be a dream city, dream venue that you want to headline one day?
Um, Hmm. I think it's got to be in the Bay Area. I like, hopefully in like Stanford's football stadium. Like I think that would be amazing. Um, yeah. I think Stanford's football stadium just headlining like the first major boxing event there would make history.
Yeah, that would be amazing and unique as well. And I don't know if you saw recently, like Turkey Al Sheikh has been talking about unique venues that he wants to hold boxing events at, and one of
Yeah.
them was Alcatraz. What are your thoughts on like a major boxing fight here in Alcatraz?
Well, I think that's definitely what boxing needs. I'm definitely really interested about like the Ryan and Rolly fight in Times Square with
Yeah,
tickets like being for free, and so just seeing um, like those two major events, like I think it's definitely just what boxing needs, is just this creative force, similar to how the UFC is, like they have fights in that dome in Vegas, but just like these really interesting events.
yeah, true. And the thing similar to how you said for your pro debut, you had people from Stanford checking out boxing for the first time. I think you take boxing to places it's never been before, Times Square, Alcatraz. It's gonna get people talking and wanting to know more about boxing.
Exactly. So like I'm definitely interested to see, and then obviously like these cards are packed, and we'll just see. Hopefully for the Alcatraz one, they can get some Bay Area guys on it. So
Yeah, you'll be the perfect fit for that one. So hopefully it happens. Um, are there any particular fighters kind of on your radar to fight in the future?
um wait, sorry, my my computer is about it. I can grab my charger real quick.
Yeah, sure, go for it. No problem.
Oh, sorry about that.
All good, Dante. All right, so while we wait for Dante to get back, if you listen in, let me know what you think about these boxing events in different places. I know I'm all for the Alcatraz fight. Might be Teofimo versus Barbosa Jr. now.
Okay. Yeah, and so sorry about that, but yeah, I believe you asked any fighters that are on my radar.
Hmm.
Really, just any fighters that are just in my in my division. I'm constantly like growing and changing weight, so that's a little bit hard. But I always just like to monitor like people that were in my weight class in the amateurs, people that like I see in the top 10, people who I believe are going to be in the top 10, and just people who are dominant in the sport. But like I really live and breathe boxing, so just like I study whoever really, like fighters of all weight classes, all generations. So I pay attention to everybody.
Nice. And then who's been the hardest puncher you've been in the ring with, either in sparring or in a pro fight?
Mm. Um, in sparring, it was when I had a training camp in Germany. Now, well, it's at the time we didn't realize this was gonna be the case. But so one of Eddie's old fighters, Evgeny Shevdenko, he had a fight against William Skull, and who's now going to fight Canelo, or lined up at some point to fight
Hmm.
Canelo. But so yeah, they were training for that fight, and so I was one of the sparring partners for that camp. And so Evgeny Shevdenko, he was just like really smart. He sparred out here in the Bay Area with Andre Ward, sparred Kovalev, and so I got to learn a lot from him. And then also another guy too that was in that camp was if I believe his name is Ivanov Petro. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but those two, I mean, they were like super middleweights, light heavyweights when I was junior middleweight. So I mean, that might have been why I felt it was hard, but
Yeah,
like definitely pushed me to be a lot better.
nice. And now, so speaking of the current boxing landscape, who do you consider to be the number one pound for pound fighter today?
Terrence Crawford, without a doubt, for
Chase
me.
Crawford.
Hmm.
Well said. Yeah, he's on a lot of people's number one for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
For the next segment, we talked about loaded fight cards, and I actually want to talk to you about the February 22nd card that we're going to get in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Want to talk about your boxer predictions for some of these matchups.
Yep.
If they're too close to call, you can say 50-50. You can also choose to pass on them.
Yeah.
First one is the rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol. How do you see that one playing out?
I thought Bevel won the first one, but I have a feeling Better Biev might kind of break him this time, so I'm gonna go Better Biev.
Yeah, it did seem from the first fight that Beterbiev was getting better, like in the last couple of rounds, so he closed stronger. We
Yeah,
shall see. Next one, Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov.
that one's 50-50. I think that's probably the toughest fight on the card. I think I got to go with my snack brother Virgil Ortiz though.
There you go. Let's see. I think he's gonna pull it off too. Next one is for the WBC middleweight title, Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz.
Carlos Adames, I think, for that
So
one.
nice.
That's a good fight.
Do you think that's gonna go decision or it's gonna end in stoppage?
I mean, Adames is a big puncher. So I mean, with him, it's any moment like there's a constant threat. So I think we might see something there.
All right. And the last one I want to ask you about, you mentioned Shakur earlier, Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Kid Austin Schofield. How do you see that one?
I think that one's probably the easiest one for me to predict. Like no disrespect to Kid Austin, I think he's like a great fighter, but I think Shakur's just on another level, and I think we might get a stoppage out of that one.
Yeah, I think we may get a lot of people that were Shakur fans in the past and somehow became haters, become fans again with this
Like,
performance.
yeah, so definitely the people that were saying he's boring, there, I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong this fight.
Yep. And going back to you, what do you like to do outside of boxing? Some of your interests and hobbies?
Um, so actually at Stanford, I'm an art practice major, so I do a lot of photography. I did some photography for USA Boxing and Mayweather Promotions, um, and photography and just art making in general has really just been something that I've just been passionate about since a kid. So I'm big on the art.
That's awesome. And speaking of the kids and the youth, what's a message you would give to someone that's starting out and wants to eventually become a pro in boxing?
I'd say it's a hard, long process, but it's definitely achievable as long as you apply yourself. For me, like especially as like a little kid, I was literally like the smallest. I was very slow. Like my punches were very slow. I couldn't hit that hard, and I really just relied on just applying myself and dedicating myself to the sport. So just like if you believe in yourself when nobody else does, that'll get you super far. Your faith in God will get you as far as you need. Whatever He has planned for you, you will accomplish. So just two biggest things I would say is just self belief and faith in God.
Great message. Final question we got for you, Dante. It's not really a question. It's more so now opening up the floor to you. What's the message you want to send to your fans and supporters?
I want to thank everybody, especially in the Bay Area, for coming out to my fights. I'm hoping to put on a great show, continuing to just build my career here in the Bay. If anyone ever just wants to reach out to me with any boxing questions or just wants to know anything about my career, you can follow me at Dante Kirkman on Instagram or TikTok. That's DanteKirkman.
Perfect. You can see that scrolling here at the bottom of the banner. Dante, thank you so much for this interview. I know I've been, lucky enough to catch one of your fights live. I got to see your pro debut live. We're looking forward to continue seeing you grow in the sport.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Likewise, enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. See you.
All right, take care. Bye.